What is up, homies? Welcome back. Today, I'm going to be answering a specific question for you, which is, should I leave my job before having another job lined up? Well, let's dive into it. So there's two ways of looking at this question. One is from the more practical sense, and the other is from the more spiritual sense. Let's start with the practical. The practical is enveloped in the idea of security, stability, and rationality, right? Which a lot of people that you'll talk to, especially who have been in a job for a long time, will advocate for. And then to preface this whole entire conversation, neither spiritual or practical is better or worse. It's actually about finding that middle ground, that union between both. From one side, in the practical sense, it's a definite no. You should not leave your job before having another job lined up, especially if your job is your only source of income. If it's your only source of income, and let's say you have a lot of bills, you have a lot of expenses, you have a lot of even other people depending on you for that income, then it probably wouldn't be best for you to leave your job right off the bat. From a spiritual sense, if that job that you're in is destroying you and it's eating you away and you feel very unfulfilled and it's actually draining you of your humanity and your energy every single day that you show up to that job, then it's a definite yes. Get out of there. Get out of that spot. Get out of any unfulfilling process. Get out of any toxicity or degenerative process that is taking away your life instead of giving into it. As you can see, we have two very contrasting opinions of how to frame and view this question. And depending on who you ask, most people will be super one-sided on one or the other and give you their reasons as to why. So in this video, I want to talk through both sides of those stories and help you determine on your own, where do you fall in between? Because hopefully by the end of this video, you will fall in between both of those ideas. And just to tell you, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my story and my perspective. But ultimately, when it comes down to leaving your job, if it's your only source of income, you really have to reflect on your life and determine, how long can I survive? How long can I exist and continue to live without this incoming paycheck? So at one point, you have to go through your finances and you have to go through your budget and understand, how much does my life cost, right? How much does my life really cost on a monthly basis? You're probably thinking to yourself a specific number, but I can guarantee you, unless you actually do your budget on a monthly basis, you're either spending more than you think or less than you think. Very few people I talk to actually spend exactly what they do unless they've done their budget on a daily basis or a monthly basis. So at that point, you figure out how much money you have and you either decide, oh my gosh, I'm good. I actually don't spend a lot. I have X amount of months or X amount of years, depending on how much money you were coming into your job, to live my life without worrying about money. That kind of scenario allows you the mental space to basically buy time. You're buying time. You're using your money instead of buying a car or buying a house or buying anything else. You're buying time. You're buying time to figure out and to answer your own question of, is it okay for me to leave my job before having another job lined up? If you're in that scenario on the practical side, then you tell me. If you have enough money to survive for 3, 6, 9, 12, X amount of years without having to worry about your money dwindling, then by all means, I think you can make your own decision on that. However, on that practical side, if you realize that you are spending a lot of money of your current paychecks and you will not have enough to survive this next following month without this job, then you can probably determine that that wouldn't be the best idea. Because at that point, you're actually going to be presented with a lot of unexpected challenges that come from leaving your job. Yes, you may be going through challenges right now within your job, but unless you have that mental space and have that preparation in mind to leave your job with the right intention and at the right pace and at the right time, then you are not going to be able to withstand all of the unexpected obstacles that life is going to present to you once you have no money coming in and all of these bills to pay. So in short, on the practical side of things, there are a few different ways that your life might look. Depending on the way your life is currently, then you have to make an educated decision on how to proceed. But the main thing is to reflect on your life, practically do your finances, and make an educated decision thereafter. Make sense? So now let's go to the spiritual side. This is the idea of I feel unfulfilled. I am being drained of my energy. I feel like I am losing my life as I go through this process. So at that point, you would think, yes, get out of there as soon as possible. But on this side of the picture, you have to ask yourself, what is it about this job that makes it unfulfilling? Really, the job, the position, is this umbrella term that you're using to describe certain ways that you feel about things that are happening in your workplace. And at that point, if you can't tell someone and articulate yourself enough to pinpoint the unfulfilling processes within this umbrella term of work, then I don't think you're ready to quit your job either, right? You have to determine, what about your job do you not like? Do you not like the way your boss treats you? Do you feel undervalued in your pay? Or is it something different? Is it just, oh, the work isn't intriguing. I'm not feeling challenged. I feel like my skill sets are better used somewhere else. I feel like I don't want to commute anymore to this job, but I like the work, but I want to find something that's remote or hybrid. There's this other way of fulfillment other than this, I don't like my job, it's unfulfilling, and really articulating and decluttering what that means to you. And at that point, you definitely need to find fulfillment. You definitely need to protect your space. You definitely need to protect your mental space, because this is with you forever. And the better you are with yourself, the better you understand the processes that you love and the processes that you loathe, the better you can design a life around that. And so from a more spiritual sense, it's like, does my spirit feel heard? Does it feel heard in this job? Do I feel like I am getting closer and closer to myself, or do I feel like I'm becoming dissociated? Do I feel dissociated from my life? Do I try to go to work and I don't feel like I'm there? I'm just trying to get through the day. Well, again, figure out, what about your day? What about your 8 hours or your 4 hours of that work process do you not like? And decide and reflect upon if those can be changed by verbalizing this with your team or your manager. And can there be a process of change? Can there be a process of kind of upgrading your workplace and the way that you arrive? Or is it something that's not fluid? Is it unchangeable? Is it very solid in its foundation that there's nothing you can do as an individual to change that feeling? So at that point, there's multiple different options in which you might be looking at your life from a spiritual perspective. But either way, you must reflect and make practical changes if applicable, and then determine when the right time is and how you want to proceed. So ultimately, everyone has a different context, everyone has a different job, everyone has a different worldview and understanding of what they're doing in their workplace. But ultimately, if you do not have money coming in and you are putting too much money out, then you should pause, reflect, and make a plan of action on how to mitigate that and change it. And from the spiritual perspective, if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're feeling drained at work, then you really have to make sure that you've pinpointed the exact processes that are unfulfilling to you, that are draining to you. Because the worst thing that could happen was you to leave your job before you have another job lined up, stress out about money, and then go to another job that has the same exact unfulfilling processes. The best way is to combine both, to really understand your finances and to make sure from a real perspective that you are going to be sustainable. And from a spiritual perspective, you make sure that you identify what is unfulfilling and fulfilling, so that when you start looking for a job, when you start interviewing, you know what you're looking for and what you're trying to avoid. In conclusion, we have to understand ourselves both practically and spiritually. By bridging that gap and understanding real-world items such as your finances, your budgets, and your expenses, as well as yourself on a deeper level from your intuition, your fulfillment, your energy, combining both of those practices into one is what's going to give you the most healthy and strongest foundation for living and designing the life that you want to live. And I call that a life fulfilled. Anyways, that is all for today's video. My name is Julian, aka The Professional Homie. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. Peace.